If you're looking to park a chic European EV in your garage this year that looks like it belongs smack bang in the middle of the Champs-Élysées, there is but one battery electric vehicle that meets the standard. Meet the swanky new Renault Megane E-Tech Techno EV60, the last bit denoting the battery size amongst other more specialised tech you'll find on board. Euro contenders in this space are few and far between. That's because its main rival is the Volkswagen ID.3, and although it launched in Europe almost 4 years ago, isn't expected to arrive here until 2025 at the earliest. Renault calls the Megane E-Tech a crossover SUV. And to some extent there are elements of both at play with this design. But its compact proportions, it's only 4.2 metres long, and short overhangs are deceptive because there's a stack of room inside with a flat floor behind, lots of luggage space including a separate underfloor receptacle for charging cables, and that's quite big. The E-Tech is also built on the same dedicated EV platform, which will also underpin Renault's eagerly anticipated performance EV brand Alpine. So it handles brilliantly and is wonderfully agile. And while it's unmistakably avant-garde in design, it's also relatively conventional with its hatchback body. And that's a good thing for those wishing to make the leap from combustion engine to 100% electric mobility for the first time. Cool light signatures too, front and back, and boasts some of the best auto extending door handles in the business. The really good news is the price of the Megane E-Tech. Renault has slashed the price by $10,000 to just $54,990 plus on roads, making it a proper bargain when you consider all it offers. Just by luck, we have a park of the Renault Megane E-Tech straight outside my favourite French patisserie, Ganache. It's been here about 22 years, certainly as long as I can remember. And they do the best bread, the best eclairs, the best millefeuilles, and a French-style sausage roll made by the French baker inside. And of course, to wash it down, none other than a Parisian soft drink, Orangina. If you subscribe to the book There Is No Planet B when it comes to climate change, you'll be thrilled to know the Megane E-Tech is over 90% recyclable and boasts up to 28 kilos of recycled plastics and fabrics across the dashboard, centre console and headrests. Even the upholstery on these super comfy wraparound seats is made from 100% recycled material. Its 110mm thick 60 kilowatt-hour battery is one of the world's thinnest, and again, 99% recyclable. This brings us to another key USP of this all-electric Megane. Its low-profile battery also gives it a lower centre of gravity for dead flat cornering, along with a sophisticated multi-link rear suspension setup that soaks up the harshest bumps. And that's without compromising that deft handling. This is benchmark level suspension tuning. Even better, it's really, really light. That's because the doors and the boot are constructed of aluminium, so the whole car tips the scales at just 1,642 kilograms, making it around 200 kilos lighter than its closest rival, and a key factor on why this is such a good thing to drive. And that's not something you can say about a lot of EVs because most are shockingly heavy. But this EV is different. Dynamically, it's well ahead of the game, behaving more like its petrol engine Megane predecessors in almost every respect. Better still, it's got very quick steering with just 2.3 turns lock to lock. That's proper supercar spec, making roundabouts a bit more fun, as well as an incredibly tight turning circle. It just makes life so easy around town. Then there's the electric motor. It weighs just 145 kilos and is 100% free of rare earth metals. Put it into sport mode and it's got plenty of go too. Not only is the Megane E-Tech zippy off the line, but it's also not scary quick like some EVs tend to be. In fact, this might just be the best calibrated electric vehicle in its class, offering a more natural pedal feel with power delivery, but also with braking and steering too. L'Héritage, Chowder Bay, two of the finest things in Sydney, but not unless you've got some absolutely quintessential French fare. Escargot, butter and parsley, twice baked Gruyere and caramelised soufflé, and a baguette and a couple of Sydney rocks thrown in. There you have it. What better thing could you do driving a French car around? Range has acclaimed 454 Ks WLTP despite its relatively small 60 kilowatt hour battery, while AC charging at home is good for up to 7.4 kilowatts using single phase AC power for overnight use, or up to 130 kilowatts DC fast charging. So going from 15 to 80% capacity will take approximately 35 minutes and add around 300 Ks of range. Step inside the Megane E-Tech and you'll find one of the more interesting and high quality cabins in this particular EV category. The wonderfully tactile leather steering wheel reminds me of that in the Aston Martin DB12, only in the E-Tech it's flattened at both ends. It also gets paddles, but they're not for shifting gears. They give you 4 levels of regenerative braking. It has the effect of stepping up and down the gear ratios if you feel like you need more driver engagement. And the steering wheel? Heated too. Not only does the leather look upholstery with recycled fabrics and contrasting stitch look both fashionable and contemporary, but it also appears to be a genuine effort to do the right thing by the environment, especially given the levels of recyclability of this car. The seats themselves are nicely bolstered without impeding general comfort for a variety of body shapes and sizes, and that's across both seat rows. A big shout out goes to E-Tech's interior design team for having the good sense to fuse cutting edge infotainment with traditional buttons and switches to make things simple and intuitive for those hopping into an EV for the first time. This alone can be a game changer for those new to the EV space. In front of the driver is a large 12.3-inch digital instrument display. Now that's paired with a driver-centric 9-inch infotainment touchscreen with crisp graphics, colour and very fast response rates. The ergonomics are perfect, but you've also got wireless charging and smartphone mirroring for both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as 2 USB-C ports under the armrest. It might be small in size, but along with plenty of boot space, there's also a stack of room up front for wallets, keys, phones and cups. Megane E-Tech also has multi-sense, which allows the driver to set one of 4 drive experiences, including comfort, eco, perso and sport. There's a host of additional standard equipment too, highlighted by 20-inch Soren wheels, adaptive LED headlights with auto high beam, along with dynamic turn signals. Audiophiles will appreciate the Archimedes Auditorium sound system, and never mind the 6 speakers because it sounds better than most 12-speaker systems in far more expensive cars. So there you have it, the Renault Megane E-Tech, perhaps the most user-friendly EV crossover for the big city, and one that simply oozes style, but with precision handling, great ride comfort and dead easy to park in those tighter spots. And frankly, nothing else invokes a sense of Parisian flair so much as this wonderfully versatile EV with a bunch of cool tech on board to boot.